and as you dig into his skill set, what's the number one thing, DJ, that's allowed Trevor Lawrence to live up to this height?
Well, I think you just start with the skill set that he possesses. You see right there with the size that he has a very live arm. I talked at the top, you can see him throw with power, and you can see him layer the ball and throw with touch. And then you add into that the wiring and the makeup, and I go to Bucky on that one because Bucky's been around him since he was in high school. He's absolutely wired the way you need to be wired as well, right, Buck?
DJ, when you talk about Trevor Lawrence, I think the best thing that he has all the intangible qualities and a winning pedigree. This is a kid in high school, was 52-2, led his high school team on a 41-game winning streak. The winning continued when he got to Clemson. I think as a franchise quarterback, we can talk about the physical, but the mental and the intangibles, that's what he brings to the table.
Got a bubble screen to the right.
Well, both of you guys are correct. When he's 6'6", weighed in at 213 pounds, hand size is 10. Really, you just can see, talking to some people, what Trevor has dealt with since he was 16 years old, over 50 commitments or colleges offers. He's been dealing with trying to be the best quarterback and dealing with that limelight since he was 16 years old. This, for him, it reminds me kind of Peyton and Eli, the Mannings. He's already been groomed for this spotlight, so he's not a young kid that you need to really focus on. He's a kid that really just understands the limelight and what's going on. So he's ready to step up into this big stage that he's been ready for since he was 16, 17 years old.
And DJ, you know, the one thing we talk about, the golden right arm, right, but also the mobility. I mean, it's a guy that scored 18 touchdowns on the ground, and you see it on that rollout there. I mean, he's got the athleticism to make it work, getting out of the pocket and getting out of trouble, and then also throwing on the run.
Yeah, and you can see it when he goes left. He can get his shoulders squared around, which is key when you're on the move there. It does have just a nice ball, too. We talk about velocity, we can talk about touch, but just the spin on the ball, a very pretty ball from Trevor Lawrence. And I do want to touch on the weight a little bit, because I think that might be a surprise to people who anticipated maybe closer to 230, and he checked in at only 213 pounds. Remember, he's doing this workout today and advancing it and moving it up so that he can have shoulder surgery on his left shoulder. So just looking at him right now, Buck, to me it looks like he probably hasn't been able to lift much with his upper body as he's getting ready to have this shoulder worked on.
Yeah, DJ, he does look a little thin, but I think it's interesting using your experience as a Chargers broadcaster. I've always kind of likened Trevor Lawrence to Justin Herbert plus. I think they're similar, obviously, size-wise, the way they play. I think Trevor is a little more explosive in terms of dynamic in the way that he plays. How big is Justin Herbert?
Yeah, Justin Herbert, it can be around 240 pounds. So, I mean, he is much thicker.
Yeah.
But I think Trevor Lawrence can carry it. I think he can carry that 230 pounds easy. Once he gets healthy, I think you'll see him add some of that back up top. And only about 30 throws on this script today as we're seeing him put that ball right on the chest. Steve, we always appreciate being able to see these guys live and in person. You're down there on the field. What does it look like with the ball coming out of his hand?
Well, you know, I've been notorious a velocity ninja on how the quarterbacks throw to the receivers. And the one thing I'm surely impressed when I think of big arm quarterbacks like a Josh Allen, he struggled with understanding that he can't throw 10 yards away, he can't throw 100 miles an hour. Trevor Lawrence is not throwing a ball 100 miles an hour. He is throwing a great wide receiver friendly throw. You've seen some of these receivers run some snag routes, some intermediate routes, some mainly short routes. And I'm looking, how does he throw the ball? He doesn't throw it forcefully. He throws it with ease. He even had a little screen that they threw, and he jumped up. And jumping up really allows that to be a touch type of pass. And for a wide receiver, hearing a touch pass, very few guys do it, but the ones who do it, it helps out the offense, and it makes a cleaner catch for the receiver, which allows more yak, which is yards after catch.
And a familiar sight for those of you who are familiar with the Pro Day circuit, Jordan Palmer, quarterback coach, and working with Trevor in the run-up to the draft, running the show here, as you can see right there. And then off to Jordan Palmer's left, Jordan's wearing that orange hat. Off to the left, bottom left-hand corner of your screen, Dabo Swinney, head coach there at Clemson, hip to hip with the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, the new head coach, Urban Meyer, owner of the #1 overall pick, who also has his offensive coordinator, Darrell Bevel, passing game coordinator, Brian Schottenheimer, expected to be in attendance there as well. And DJ, Bevel said yesterday that that's what he wants to see, the ball coming out of his hand, the velocity coming out of his hand of Trevor Lawrence that you don't really get to see on tape.
Yeah, I mean, look, you can watch him on tape and tell that he has a strong arm just by the way he's able to fit balls in tight quarters. But still, you don't get an ultimate feel for the quarterback until you get out there and watch him live in person to see what it looks like. And to me, this feels very much like somebody has already agreed to purchase a car, but they're just taking it for a quick little test drive around the block. That's what it looks like to me with Urban Meyer taking in this workout.
I mean,
we're seeing a lot of play
like
action
3 feet
here,
away.
by the way, in this workout. Oh, yeah, exactly. He is very comfortable in play action. You know, according to our friends at PFF, 38 touchdowns on play action since 2018. That's the second most in FBS. That's one of the things, Buck, that I really like about him is how crisp he is with his ball fakes, with his footwork inside the pocket. Everything is very crisp, and he's going to make a very smooth adjustment to the next level. I heard you say, kind of comparing him to Justin Herbert. I've kind of likened him to, Deshaun Watson as a player in more of Justin Herbert's, frame. That's who he reminded me when I watched him.
DJ, I think it's interesting because we talk about taking him out for a test drive and Darrell Bevel being down there closely watching with Urban Meyer. Remember, Darrell Bevel did a really good job of helping Russell Wilson quickly get ready to play in the National Football League as that offensive coordinator out in Seattle. And when you talk about the play action pass part of it, Russell and the Seattle Seahawks being able to do that early, you can already see where Jacksonville is trying to envision how they can get him up and running if he is the #1 pick like we all expect him to be.
Yeah, and looking at Trevor Lawrence's number, the numbers are obviously outstanding. The guys won, 32 games, over 10,000 passing yards, 90 passing touchdowns, and the accuracy, the arm strength, it's all there. But Steve Smith, as a guy who could do, electric things with the ball in your hands, getting that ball placement from your quarterback helps you do that. What have you noticed from Lawrence in the way he gives receivers an opportunity to make plays after the catch?
When you look at his highlights, you can see he gives an opportunity for the wide receiver to catch the ball at the highest point, be able to get his feet down at the same time, and not 1 foot, but 2 feet. You can see a lot of his throws at times in his highlights. You can see the wide receiver able to, as Nate Burleson says, get that toe swag, right? And really be able to catch the ball and make a move. Now, the last throw, it was a little bit high. It still got a little excited. But you can see when he throws the ball on the opposite hash. I love evaluating the quarterback. And I want to see when he's on the opposite hash and I have an 18-yard dig, where's that ball placement? Is it at my kneecaps? You got to remember, I'm 5'9" and 3/4. So if it's at my kneecaps, for some of these other wide receivers who pretty much 90% of most wide receivers in the league are taller than me, well, that's going to be very advantageous for those guys to reach down, to be able to reach down and grab that ball. So ball placement is important, especially when you're talking about much taller receivers. And you can see on that throw right there in the chest, gives the opportunity for the pass catcher to go forward towards the ball, attack the ball, not catch it with your breastplate, but attack the ball so the corner has to go through the player to get to the ball. That is great coaching. And talking about coaching, Urban Meyers and Coach Dabo Swinney have been talking for the last 25 minutes. They've been hip to hip, very jolly, talking very intimately about the quarterback, the ins and outs. So it is very good to see that because you can tell that Urban Meyer's getting what they say, all the skinny on what's really going on this future pick. And right there, deep corner, I'm going to come back right there in the chest, giving the wide receiver the opportunity to catch the ball, go up the field, or catch it and go out of bounds.
You've seen Cornell Powell, wide receiver for Clemson, catching passes here from Trevor Lawrence. Had a nice Senior Bowl week down in Mobile, and we'll certainly hear his name called in 76 or 77 days here when we get to the 2021 NFL Draft. And it's really interesting to sit there and watch Urban Meyer right next to Dabo Sweeney. I mean, Steve, it feels like he hasn't left Dabo's side there, just trying to get every little bit of information on the guy who will very likely be the number 1 overall pick on April 29th. But DJ, as we get a little bit deeper into this script here, and we start to see some of these deeper throws, I mean, they didn't do it a ton at Clemson, but it certainly felt like Trevor made his deep throws count. I mean, he's the only player in college football the last 3 years with 10+ deep ball touchdowns. How do you view his accuracy on those chunk plays?
I actually think it's outstanding. And, they throw a lot of balls within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage, a lot of tunnel screens, a lot of quick screens. But they kind of offset that with some deep shots. And as good as those numbers look, man, there's a boatload of drops when you study his tape this year as well. They could have been even better. And when I watch him on deep balls, you see that seam ball right there, you'll see that on tape a bunch. Over linebackers, under safeties. That's one of the more difficult throws, and he can make it look easy. But he can layer the football. He can drive the football. When you get somebody in a trail position, he'll put extra air under it. It just shows a good overall feel as a thrower when you study him. So really not much to be concerned about when you look at him pushing the ball down the field. If I was going to try and critique him and say, okay, what does he need to work on? It's something we're not going to see in this workout setting, which is some pocket feel things. Just being able to slide and maneuver around the pocket at times. He doesn't always feel that. So that would be something you're not going to see in a workout setting. The other thing, Buck, is, when you're that tall, when you get these, 6'5" plus quarterbacks, every now and then you can get a little long with your release. And he did a nice job of shortening and tightening that up. You can see a nice tight stroke right there. But that shows up on occasion. But, man, we're nitpicking.
Yeah, DJ, I think it is a situation with a prospect like that. You are nitpicking. But if we're going to do that, I think the conversation that some will have will be, well, what about in the college football playoffs when he appeared to have struggles a year ago against Ohio State and LSU? What was it about those two teams that kind of got him out of sorts? Because in both of those games, he was right around a 50% completion rate. And I just think it's the maturation of a quarterback dealing with complexities of a defense, late changing coverage, understanding that. And I think like most young quarterbacks, he is going to have some growing pains in that area when he gets to the next level.
There, a nice deep ball to Cornell Powell. And I mean, guys, we've connected, top prospects with the teams that own the number 1 pick times before during pro days. I don't know that I've ever seen a head coach standing front row center 5 yards away talking to that prospect's head coach in college the entire workout, but such is the case with the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Urban Meyer, right there. And as we continue to go through here this workout for Trevor Lawrence, let's listen in a little bit and kind of get a feel for what's going on down there at Clemson.
Let's go. Got a dagger. Front side of the progression. Let's go wide left forward. You guys go. Set hut. Got a fade to the left.
There was your dagger, a deep post right there from Lawrence on the money, about 40 yards down the field. Back to the other side there, DJ. Again, I mean, like that ball hits the ground, but that ball's still placed in a good spot for a receiver to make a play.
Yeah, and one of the other things, if you look at Lawrence, he's not even breathing hard. You can tell he's in phenomenal shape. He's just kind of cruising through this workout and throwing the ball nice and easy, all while wearing the Alex P. Keaton watch on his left hand, which is quite impressive.
He's going to be wearing a ring on that
Very
left
impressive.
hand here pretty soon, too. Set to be married. He's been engaged since his senior year here at Clemson. I mean, he's a guy, Bucky, that feels mature beyond his years. And I know an NFL team like the Jacksonville Jaguars would love to see that.
Yeah, I think he is a very mature player. And I actually think Trevor Lawrence kind of solidified his leadership qualities in front of NFL scouts with what he did over the course of the offseason, trying to work to get his team back to play when everyone was uncertain about whether Clemson would play during the pandemic, the things that he did to try and unify his team when it came to some of the social injustice stuff. I think what Trevor Lawrence has shown this year is not only the game that has developed on the field, but his leadership ability and all the things that are necessary to really handle responsibilities of being a franchise quarterback off the field.
Steve Smith Sr.'s down there at this workout in person there on the campus of Clemson. Steve, as you've watched this workout here, these first 20, 25 throws, what stands out to you most about the way the ball comes out of Trevor Lawrence's hands?
I mean, he's out here throwing, you know, I joked around and DJ know this and Bucky Moore, you know, I should have brought my mom's Crown Royal bag to put all these change, all that change that he's out here. He's dropping dimes all over the field, right? And some of the wide receivers may not be catching them, but, I mean, you can tell just his calmness. He understands how big of an event this is. But he walked in with his headphones, and he strolled in here and said, hey, I'm going to do my job. And Bucky and DJ talked about this and talking to some other people as well. They said the one thing that has separated Trevor Lawrence from everyone else is he understands his role. He is a man among young men in college, understanding he is well prepared. He knows from the shoulders up football as well as the shoulders down. He also understands and knows how to command a locker room. Bucky talked about and addressed it about the, the social justice stance and how galvanizing this team and getting them back together. That is the leadership and the expectation that falls upon a franchise quarterback, whether that young man is ready or not. Trevor Lawrence is prepared and ready. And again, I said groomed. I don't mean it in a mean way. I just mean it. He knows and he's prepared. We all want our young man. As a dad, you want your son to be prepared for every situation. And guys, I'm telling you, I'm here. That young man is prepared. He is prepared to be a husband, and he seems like he's prepared to be a freaking leader for if it works out for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
You want to read more about the person that Trevor Lawrence is and the upbringing that has kind of given him that foundation back from Cartersville, Georgia. Go check out the Back to Campus feature on NFL.com that Chase Goodbread wrote on Lawrence. A really fascinating look at the man that he is. And here again, DJ seeing him on the move, making the run, throwing back towards the middle of the field there. I mean, he does have, he pushes it down the field with velocity, but again, has that touch on those short routes. He's had plenty of experience with them from the system and the offense that he's run there at Clemson.
Yeah, and he's just real loose. I mean, you can see that. Sometimes you can get quarterbacks, you don't want to be too muscled up or stiff. You can just see that's a throw that kind of highlights. He's just very loose up top, wiry, and the ball still jumps out of his hand. He doesn't have to be, squared up to be able to make the throws. And I think that's something you're seeing these workouts highlight more and more over the years, is guys being able to make some of those off-platform, non-traditional throws.
There's one for you on a rope.
That's a rip a seam right there.
Another dime.
Yeah. Bucky, the folks in Cartersville, Georgia, talk about the throw when it comes to Trevor Lawrence, one he made in a playoff game from the right side of the field all the way back to the left on the run with a defender in his face. Felt like he made one of those against Georgia Tech this past year, throwing from the right hash all the way back to the left corner of the end zone on a touchdown to Amari Rodgers. I mean, is there a signature throw, a signature route that explains a little bit more to us about Trevor Lawrence, the quarterback?
Look, man, I think there's nothing that he can't do. And I think you guys were up there in Oregon when we had a chance to watch him in high school. I think it's just a continuing development of Trevor Lawrence, the great pro, or what we expect to be a great pro. He has all the arm talent that you want to see. He can make every throw. And at a time in this league where we're seeing these special players be able to make these special throws from various platforms, Trevor Lawrence can be in that category. And I just have in my mind seeing Pat Mahomes make all these crazy throws in the Super Bowl. Arm talent now is really coveted and valued in the National Football League more than ever, especially if you can throw it from random platforms.
Yeah, and the off-platform throw, the improvisation, DJ, where do you feel like Lawrence fits in that category?
Well, I think there's more there. You know, one of the things when you play on a great team, the most talented team that, you know, is on the field in almost every game he plays until he gets to the postseason, you don't get as much pressure. And with pressure comes the opportunity to make some of those off-platform creative type plays. So he didn't have to get off schedule very often with the players he had around him and who he was playing against. I think he's obviously a phenomenal athlete. And trust me, when he gets to Jacksonville, those opportunities to play under pressure will increase dramatically.
And let's get Fink on
Look
the
at
left.
DJ. When he gets to Jacksonville, there are 76 days until the Jaguars are officially on the clock with the number 1 overall pick. Once we get to the 2021 NFL Draft on April 29th. Taking a little break here. Let's listen in to Jordan Palmer kind of go through this next stage of the script with Trevor.
Cool. Yeah, so, Sharon, you ready to rock? Yep. Okay, so, your landmark. Heads up, you guys.
I got you. Watching Trevor Lawrence's Pro Day here at Path to the Draft Pro Day special presented by Verizon here on the campus of Clemson. Steve Smith down there. And Steve, we're getting down into the red area here, throwing from the 25, back of the end zone balls here to Cornell Powell. How do you like those throws from your quarterback in relation to what you're seeing from Trevor here?
I like those throws. Right now, they're trying to run a Dino post or 88, depending on what kind of system you're in. Dino is a West Coast, 88 is you know, for some of us public school kids, you know, that just running a bang gate, but keeping it on the other side of keeping it between the goalpost and the hash, which is a small area, but because that if they're two safety or single safety high, being able to thread the needle. And then they're going to go with a seam, which is cover to alert. So again, a seam, you'll see that jump ball that you could talk about Gronk catches, Kelsey catches, having that touch, be able to do the play action, and then stepping back, taking that two-step transition and throwing it to the wide receiver that must be patient, have to be able to go up there and get it at its highest point, but it has to be a catchable ball. And so you also see a corner right here where it's a corner stop or corner snag, being able to save the wide receiver from getting banged from the corner if they're in the cover two, and then they'll follow up that I believe is a huge throw, which is a back inline dig. That's where he has to make the big step, but also throw it and save it between the linebacker and the safety. And see how this throw goes right there in line. Exactly what we talked about. I mean, he's out here throwing very catchable balls with ease, not rushing or forcing the throw.
Trevor Lawrence now inside the 10. That ball a little high there as he was getting towards the end line. And again, DJ, we talked about nitpicking on the things, you know, that you perhaps like to see Trevor improve on. Down here inside the red zone, what are the things that you would look for and the things that Lawrence, in relation to what he's shown you down here?
Well, everything speeds up when you get down in these condensed quarters and the windows shrink. You know, there's one play, you watch Virginia Tech, they've got a really good safety, Divine Diablo, and Trevor Lawrence locked on a route just like this one, and Diablo came from the backside and picked it off. So it just, to me, it's speeding up your clock, not getting locked on. But overall, when you look at his red zone numbers, you know, what he accomplished during his time there at Clemson, very, very efficient.
like we're getting down into that real low area of the red zone inside the 5 here. You're looking for probably, Bucky, your fades, your back shoulders here, where we're going to see the quarterback's accuracy and his ability to place the ball for 6.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm not a fan of the back shoulder fade or any of the fades down here in the red zone, but you do want to see if your quarterback has that ability, that feel, touch, timing, anticipation, but more important, accuracy and ball placement. That's what you want to see from a quarterback on these throws.
All right, we'll flip it here. Last couple going this way again. 25. What's that?
There's Urban Meyer. Back right there to our camera.
He's in the
Again, the Jaguars just making their new coaching staff official. Darrell Bevel, offensive coordinator. You kind of get another look at one of those
Last couple balls, we'll go
tight
out
throws into the back corner of the end zone there for Trevor Lawrence. And guys, we talk
I think they're getting ready to pull
Yeah.
the car back into the dealership here pretty quick, Rick.
all that's left is to sign the paper. Is that what you're telling me?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Credit check is passed. We're good to go. Trevor Lawrence here.
That brother played.
Final couple throws. Go ahead,
Brother
Steve.
paid with cash. He paid with cash. He's snatching. He's taking. Luxury vehicle.
Yeah, it feels like this is a purchase for the long haul, not a 3-year lease. Trevor Lawrence, DJ, with that number 1 pick.
No, this is what's crazy about, you look at a player like this, and you just come off of a Super Bowl where we saw a 43-year-old quarterback win a championship, and you think, man, if you're a fan of the Jacksonville Jaguars, this is a quarterback you could be hopefully looking at for the next 15 plus years. I mean, this is it's an awesome opportunity when you can get a franchise guy here and know that you're set for the foreseeable future, as he just throws a beautiful post there to Powell.
Bucky, have we entered the show-off portion of the Pro Day workout here?
Of course. This is the part of the test drive where they show you how I can get from 0 to 60 and do all the tricks and the bells and whistles and the sound system. That's what Trevor Lawrence is doing. He's showing off to the rest of the football world, even though he knows he may be soon to be a Jacksonville Jaguar.
Ball got a little wobble on it there, but certainly got where it needed to go. Didn't end up as a completion as we get to the final couple throws here.
Hey, Rhett.
Yeah, what do you got, Deej?
Yeah, I know we can't see Joe Douglas. I know he is there. I bet you he just whispered by Urban Meyer, hey, did you see that was a duck, man? Terrible throw.
I think you guys should go somewhere else with that number 1 pick, right? Jets sitting there at number 2 overall. Pondering their quarterback future, certainly, with Sam Darnold there. We'll continue to do that here on our Path to the Draft Pro Day special once this workout finishes up. Think they're kind of going off script here at the end? Kind of, hey, anything else you want to put out there? Anything else you want to talk about? Anything else you want to show? Urban Meyer, who's standing 5 yards away from you?
I was curious to see if Urban Meyer was going to make a request.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes you'll see at these pro days, coaches will request they want to see this ball or that ball. I think that might be the only person they'd be taking requests from at this point in time.
This one he about to throw across the field.
So, a lot of times when we're talking about quarterbacks, we're talking about fit, right? How do they fit with the team, with the scheme, with a coach? How do you, look, he's a great prospect. It feels like he's a fit no matter where he would end up. But with a
Curl around over here, shakes loose, runs in the pylon.
All right, busted play, so going to try to make a little scramble throw here.
Get up. All the way. Sit up.
Oh, good catch.
Oh,
How's that?
there it is.
Is that good? I think that's good.
Is that Patrick Mahomes' Tyreek Hill right there?
That was good. That's the Josh Allen throw that Jordan Palmer had him do at his pro days. That's the big time show off throw. He couldn't throw it any better than that.